The Justice Secretary has said that she is extremely disappointed after the Sentencing Council rejected her calls to change the guidance recommending pre-sentence reports be considered necessary for criminals from an ethnic, cultural or faith minority. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Liz Bates, who's in Westminster. Morning, Liz. Remind us a little bit the background to this and also talk us through what happens next.
Yes, the background to this is quite interesting. This is really what has become quite an angry standoff now between the Justice Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, and the Sentencing Council. That is an arm's-length body which issues guidance to the UK courts. The suggestion, which was very controversial here in Westminster from them, was a differential treatment of some offenders based on their race or religion. The suggestion was that a pre-sentence report should be included for offenders of an ethnic, cultural or faith minority. Now, when they issued that advice, there was a backlash in Westminster from, first of all, the Conservatives, the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick, but Shabana Mahmood also wrote to the Sentencing Council and suggested that they should rethink that advice. Now, they have come back to her and stood by their position, and that really brings us up to date. So let me bring you, first of all, what the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick, has said. He has said Shabana Mahmood has been humiliated by the Sentencing Council. In 3 days' time, we'll have two-tier sentencing because of her, and two-tier Keir, that nickname that the Conservatives are trying to get going for the Prime Minister. It is shameful that they sat on their hands and chose not to legislate to prevent two-tier justice. So what he is saying is that the Justice Secretary should try to override the Sentencing Council. Now, let me bring you the latest from the Justice Secretary herself, Shabana Mahmood. What she has said is, I have been clear in my view that these guidelines represent differential treatment under which someone's outcomes may be influenced by their race, culture and religion. This is unacceptable, and I formally set out my objections to this in a letter to the Sentencing Council last week. She says, I am extremely disappointed by the Council's response. All options are on the table and I will legislate if necessary. So that is the takeaway from today. The Justice Secretary is not letting this go. If she needs to, she will use Parliament to override the Sentencing Council on this incredibly controversial issue.
All right, that row continues. For now, Liz, thank you.